They say a century has passed since the Orchard Vows founders, Margaery Tyrell and Jon Snow, were laid to rest beneath the apple trees of Highgarden. Within that span, entire generations have grown up without first-hand memory of the war-torn days when Joffrey's cruelty still reigned and the Iron Throne brooded over the realm. Children now hear only stories of how those two, one a rose of Highgarden, the other a northern wolf, united the land in confederation, forging orchard watchers who warded against tyranny. Where once the entire territory bent under a single king's whim, now each region prospers under local governance, bound by orchard principles of fairness and discipline. In that span of 100 years, it might seem all is well, and that the orchard vows watchfulness suffices to keep the peace forever. Yet time never stands still. Each generation inherits both the orchard vows ideals and the flaws that might erode them. Over decades, orchard watchers have become a fixture in city squares and remote villages alike. Their code remains theoretically strict. No intimidation of small folk, no corruption, no unpunished cruelty. But the Orchard Vows founders can no longer guide them in person, nor can they respond to subtle shifts that might pull orchard watchers astray. Indeed, the vows' moral spine endures, but the human hearts behind each orchard badge may sometimes falter. And though the confederation stands strong, it is not monolithic. Old families that once grudgingly accepted orchard authority now nurse quiet resentments, or yearn to test how far orchard watchers will let them go. The Orchard Vows' victory over monarchy spawned new forms of local power, not all benevolent. Still, the Orchard Confederation continues to flourish. Caravans carrying fruit, grains, and crafted goods traverse the well-patrolled roads. Great routes connect King's Landing, the Reach, the North, the Vale, Dorne, and even the Westerlands, which now quietly acknowledge orchard oversight in trade matters. The Iron Islands remain as ever, neither fully integrated nor openly hostile, content to raid foreign coasts while leaving orchard shipping alone for fear of orchard reprisals. The capital, which has run for decades under a city council and orchard watchers, stands as a living testament to how life can continue without a single crowned head. The old monarchy is remembered mostly in cautionary tales. Children laugh at the idea that one child king could so terrorize an entire realm. The Orchard Vow is no myth to them. It is the daily experience of orchard watchers patrolling streets and local councils settling disputes. Plenty find it natural, as if the Orchard Vow had always existed. But in the southwestern corner of the realm, along that broad coastline beyond Highgarden's far edge, new rumors stir. Seaports that once saw mainly orchard-aligned traffic from Dorne or Essos now detect a different wind. Whispers speak of a hidden faction gathering across the narrow sea, possibly a claimant who insists the Iron Throne is his birthright, as Targaryens once did. Though the Orchard Vow has suppressed monarchy for a century, exiled Joffrey, and overshadowed Tywin's ambitions, the lure of that old seat of swords can still grip certain minds. Perhaps a distant scion of a dethroned line, or a Sellsword captain who proclaims he carries a Targaryen's blood, now eyes Westeros with hungry visions. So far, these tales remain ephemeral, too faint to alarm orchard watchers. But the watchers posted at the southwestern ports sense attention. Fewer merchants from the free cities, more strange vessels lingering at sea. The Orchard Vows' standard procedures say to keep a watchful eye, yet not stoke panic. After all, no one believes a new would-be king can overthrow a century of orchard-based unity, especially not from across the sea. But vigilance is part of the Orchard Vow, so the watchers maintain quiet readiness. On a certain crisp morning, an orchard knight named Ser Danwell prowls the quay in a small seaport known as Wyvern's Rest, near the southwestern coast. He is middle-aged, a product of Orchard Vow training that hammered ideals of fairness and diligence into his bones. The orchard watchers assigned him and half a dozen men to watch for contraband or suspicious new arrivals. In decades past, a roving band of Sellswords tried stirring trouble, but the Orchard Vow quelled them quickly. Now Wyvern's Rest sees mostly fisherfolk and orchard supply ships. Yet that day, a single lean ship moors under dawn's gray light, foreign sails, no obvious insignia. Ser Danwell approaches, orchard men at his back, asking routine questions. The crew, perhaps half a dozen men, plus a cloaked figure who stands on deck, answer politely, claiming to be simple traders. But Danwell's instincts prickle. These men carry more weapons than typical traders, and their accent hints at Essos. The orchard watchers mark them. The cloaked figure never lowers his hood, but Danwell glimpses silver hair at the temples, not impossible in Westeros, yet reminiscent of certain exiled lines. They cannot force the man to remove his hood. Orchard vow protocol forbids random harassment, so the watchers let them unload crates of spices and cloth. For now, nothing contraband. The watchers remain polite, though they memorize every face. That evening, under a crescent moon, Danwell sees the cloaked man slip away from the ship, gliding into the labyrinth of Wyvern's Rest's back streets. Orchard watchers follow discreetly. The man meets a local merchant rumored to resent orchard taxes. They speak low, discussing some arrangement, financing or forging local alliances, perhaps. The watchers overhear snatches. "We will restore the throne. Orchard Confederation is a sham. We need lords to stand with us." Enough to raise alarm. But Orchard vow discipline says to gather proof before intervening. The watchers shadow the meeting. At dawn, the cloaked man returns to his ship. By midday, the vessel has vanished from the harbor. In the following weeks, Orchard watchers in Wyvern's Rest puzzle over the meaning. They forward a report up the chain. Suspicious ship, possible claim of restoring monarchy. The Orchard Vow's local command center weighs it, deciding to watch for more such arrivals. Meanwhile, they inform senior Orchard watchers in King's Landing. The watchers in the capital receive the news calmly, suspecting it's just a dreamer with no real power. But to be safe, they add the name Silver-Haired Man in Southwestern Port to their logs. No immediate action is taken, for Orchard watchers have never faced a serious monarchy threat in a century. Quiet infiltration attempts by old Lannister loyalists were once the biggest danger. This rumored Targaryen scion, if real, seems an echo of an age that Orchard rule left behind. So the watchers remain outwardly calm, though a flicker of tension underlies their daily routine. Months pass. Reports trickle in from other southwestern ports. A suspicious ship or two, unknown men seeking to recruit mercenaries. Orchard watchers track them, but the men slip away. They never act violently, never do anything the Orchard Vow's law code forbids outright. They only talk quietly about a true throne, fueling certain lords' curiosity or bitterness. Some Orchard watchers recall half-legendary Targaryen claims. But with the Orchard Vow's deep roots, who truly would risk open rebellion? In time, Orchard watchers uncover a network of hush gatherings among minor lords in southwestern corners, men or women who resent Orchard watch taxes or yearn for personal glory. They are a small group, not enough to threaten the entire confederation, but Orchard watchers worry. The seeds of monarchy remain potent in some hearts. Perhaps these conspirators believe a Targaryen banner could unify them, toppling Orchard watchers. The watchers intensify their surveillance. They consider arresting ringleaders, yet Orchard vow strictures require a just cause, not suspicion alone. So they watch, gather intelligence, waiting for the conspirators to commit a crime. Meanwhile, the Orchard Vow's daily governance continues as normal. King's Landing, run by the Orchard Council, remains serene. The orchard expansions in trade flourish. The fields around Highgarden produce bountiful harvests. The Confederation's southwestern realms are mostly content. Most lords there appreciate orchard stability, but a fraction do not. Over the next year, Orchard watchers piece together that these suspicious lords hope to invite a claimant from across the sea. Someone they call Aerion Targaryen, who claims to be a distant scion. He has recruited a mercenary fleet, so rumor says, and aims to land in southwestern Westeros. His plan: rally local lords discontent with Orchard watch taxes, proclaim a rightful monarchy, then march on King's Landing. A wild scheme reminiscent of old rebellions. Orchard watchers who discover this plan are uncertain how serious it is. Some wonder if Aerion Targaryen is real or a charlatan. But the watchers must not ignore it. They compile evidence, present it to the Orchard Council in the capital, urging a measured response. In the capital, Orchard watchers debate. Some say to preemptively arrest the southwestern lords rumored to be complicit. Others argue that Orchard Vow law forbids arrests without firm proof of immediate wrongdoing. So the Orchard Vow's top leaders, descendants or successors of Tarly and the earliest Watchers, choose to send an investigative envoy to the southwestern region, accompanied by Orchard Watchers, to confirm the threat. They do not wish to trample local autonomy, nor provoke a rebellion by heavy-handed moves. The Orchard Vow has always balanced discipline with fairness, so they proceed carefully. That envoy, a man named Ser Lucan Flowers, sets off with 3 Orchard Knights. They carry the Orchard Vow's insignia, the entwined rose and wolf, hammered into their armor. Their mission is to meet each local lord suspected of harboring monarchy sentiments, politely request clarifications, warn them that Orchard Watchers stand for confederation. If these lords disclaim involvement, fine. If they confess, Orchard Watchers can intervene. The Orchard Vow does not attempt covert infiltration. They present themselves openly, trusting their moral authority to deter conspirators. But some lords resent Orchard Watchers' queries, refusing to grant them audience. Suspicion grows. Ser Lucan writes urgent letters to the capital describing the hostility. Meanwhile, rumors swirl that a mercenary fleet has left the free cities, heading west. As weeks slip by, Orchard Watchers in southwestern towns notice more tension. People speak of a golden dragon banner soon to appear at sea. Fearing confrontation, Orchard Watchers place additional men along the coast, setting beacons ready to light if foreign ships come. The Orchard Vow's older members recall how, a century back, a single cunning move dethroned Joffrey. They remain confident Orchard Watchers can handle any invader. After all, the Orchard Vow overcame monarchy once. They can do it again. Yet a sliver of unease creeps in. The southwestern lords might be more numerous than anticipated, and the Orchard Vow has grown somewhat complacent under decades of peace. Nonetheless, Orchard Watchers start mobilizing modest reinforcements from King's Landing. At last, a crisp dawn breaks over the southwestern coast. Fisherfolk at Wyvern's Rest spy sails on the horizon. More ships than usual, glinting with morning light. The Orchard Watchers ring an alarm. By midday, perhaps a score of galleys near the harbor, flying a silver dragon standard on a golden field, claiming Targaryen lineage. The Watchers ready themselves. The southwestern lords who sympathize with monarchy ride out with small retinues, meeting these arrivals with guarded excitement. The Orchard Watchers are outnumbered in the immediate harbor, yet they remain calm, ordering no violence unless attacked. They demand to speak with the fleet's leader. Soon enough, a tall figure in flamboyant silver and gold regalia disembarks, calling himself Aerion Targaryen. He proclaims, "I come to restore the rightful monarchy undone by the Orchard Vow's upstart confederation. Lords of Westeros, unite under the true king." A cluster of local lords cheer. The Orchard Watchers do not. They step forward, explaining that monarchy was abolished, replaced by Orchard Confederation. They remind the crowd that Orchard Watchers uphold a century of stable governance. But Aerion scoffs, brandishing a parchment claiming Targaryen blood. He points to the Watchers. "You replace tyranny with your own hidden tyranny, a code that demands all must comply with Orchard taxes and Orchard discipline. I offer an alternative, a rightful king, descended from old lines, who can free you from Orchard Watch meddling." The Watchers see the crowd's uncertain reaction. Some see Orchard Watchers as reliable guardians. Others crave a fresh sense of grandeur. Targaryen mystique still resonates, especially in southwestern corners that never fully embraced Orchard rule. The Orchard Watchers politely instruct Aerion to depart, or to come to King's Landing peacefully, subject to Orchard Confederation laws. Aerion sneers, "I do not bow to your Orchard Confederation. I reclaim the throne that was stolen from Targaryens by false kings, then left vacant by your vow." A hush grips the crowd. The Orchard Watchers, seeing no immediate violence but anticipating it, send a secret rider to the capital requesting reinforcements. The southwestern lords who side with Aerion open their keeps to his men, forging a small but formidable foothold. Arryn's mercenary force numbers in the hundreds, many ships still offshore. The Orchard Watchers and Wyvern's Rest are forced to retreat to a small garrison tower, wary of open confrontation until reinforcements arrive. News flashes through Orchard networks. King's Landing's Orchard Watchers mobilize a disciplined force under Commander Alline, who organizes a few thousand watchers from the region around the capital. They plan to march southwest, quell any budding rebellion. The Orchard Vows Confederation law states that if a foreign invader sets foot to claim monarchy, Orchard Watchers are authorized to defend. Even so, Orchard Watchers vow not to slaughter the southwestern lords mindlessly. They want a calm solution. They dispatch envoys once more, hoping to avoid large-scale bloodshed. The Orchard Vow has not engaged in a major conflict for decades, but they remain well-trained. They muster in measured formation. No glint of panic, each Orchard Knight wearing the Vow's insignia. Meanwhile, in Highgarden, the Orchard Watchers under a local commander also gather. They coordinate with King's Landing Watchers, aiming to converge near the southwestern coast. The southwestern region's common folk are caught in the middle. Some remain loyal to Orchard Watchers. Others let themselves be dazzled by Arryn's claims of a glorious Targaryen restoration. Arryn, enthralled by his own rhetoric, tries to muster local militia under the Golden Dragon banner. He promises these lords special privileges if he is crowned. The Orchard Watchers, alarmed, see a potential for open fighting. They attempt negotiations with southwestern lords, reminding them the Orchard Confederation guaranteed them centuries of peace. But illusions of monarchy lure some of these lesser lords. They think to carve power from Orchard stewardship, believing Orchard Watchers have grown soft. At last, Orchard Watchers from King's Landing arrive in force near a coastal plain not far from Wyvern's Rest. Arryn's men hold a newly fortified position near a local keep. The Orchard Watchers, numbering a few thousand, approach calmly. They send heralds to parley. Commander Alline meets with Arryn in a neutral field. The Orchard Watchers stand in disciplined lines behind her, each soldier wearing plain but sturdy gear. Arryn's men, a ragtag band of mercenaries mixed with southwestern militias, show less uniform discipline. Alline states Orchard Confederation law: monarchy is abolished. An attempt to enthrone oneself is treason under Orchard codes. She invites Arryn to disband or come peacefully to the Orchard Confederation Council. Arryn scoffs, calling Orchard Watchers usurpers. He demands they kneel to the Targaryen line. Alline calmly refuses. The Orchard Watchers vow to defend the Orchard Confederation. Arryn, carried away by pride, orders his men to prepare for battle. On the day of reckoning, Orchard Watchers stand in neat ranks. No flamboyant banners except the Orchard Vows' entwined rose and wolf sigil. Arryn's forces wave the Golden Dragon banner, chanting of Targaryen glory. Observers from local hamlets watch anxiously, recalling centuries of Orchard peace. Now they witness the first large-scale confrontation since Joffrey's dethronement. Tension weighs the air. Alline repeats her final warning that Orchard Watchers will not stand down. Arryn replies with a call for a cavalry charge. Thus the Orchard Vow faces its first true pitched battle in a century. At the command, Arryn's mercenary horsemen thunder forward, expecting Orchard Watchers to break. But Orchard Watchers have trained meticulously for generations. They hold formation, spears braced, archers in the rear. The cavalry meets a wall of Orchard discipline. Horses rear amid Orchard spears, the Orchard lines absorbing the initial shock with minimal panic. Then Orchard archers release volleys overhead, hitting riders who flail in confusion. The Orchard Vows' second line, carrying stouter polearms, moves forward methodically, pushing back the horsemen. The southwestern militiamen, seeing the Orchard Watchers unyielding, falter. But Arryn tries to rally them, shouting that Targaryen blood will prevail. The Orchard Vows lines continue to hold, seamlessly shifting to seal any gaps. No savage cruelty emerges from Orchard Watchers, only disciplined force aimed at incapacitating foes. The Vows Code says not to slaughter surrendering men. Indeed, Orchard Watchers subdue many riders who drop swords. Some Orchard Watchers are wounded or killed, but they keep cohesion. Aerion, furious, leads a second wave with foot soldiers. They crash against Orchard shields. But Orchard watchers have prepared for this. Commander Oline deploys a flanking maneuver with Orchard cavalry coming around the edges. The southwestern militias, lacking thorough training, cannot withstand Orchard watchers' calm synergy. Ranks crumble. Some southwestern lords realize their dream of monarchy is unraveling. They try to retreat, but Orchard watchers encircle them. The mercenaries, seeing the tide turn, begin to break. Still, Orchard watchers remain disciplined, letting those who throw down arms yield. Only the die-hard loyalists to Aerion keep fighting. The Orchard vow methodically disarms them. Within hours, the battlefield hushes, scattered with groaning wounded. The Orchard watchers stand victorious, unsullied by cruelty. No pursuit of fleeing men with lethal vengeance. No savage butchery. Instead, Orchard watchers allow any who surrender to be taken prisoner. Aerion, battered, attempts to rally a final pocket near a small ridge. He curses Orchard watchers as cowards who hide behind confederation. Commander Oline offers him a last chance to surrender. In his arrogance, Aerion instead tries to charge forward, but Orchard archers expertly wound his horse. He tumbles to the ground, Orchard watchers swarming, swiftly disarming him. The Orchard vow's moral code forbids summary executions. They chain Aerion, reading him Orchard Confederation law. By proclaiming monarchy and waging war, he stands accused of violating the vow's foundational edicts. He rages, spitting about Targ. Aerion rightful rule, but Orchard watchers remain unmoved. They gather up southwestern lords who joined him, also in chains. The Orchard vow has not faced such traitors in living memory. The watchers stand by their oath of justice. In the aftermath, Orchard medics tend wounded on both sides. The watchers do not relish bloodshed, but the Orchard vow was forced to defend the Confederation. By dusk, the Golden Dragon banner lies trampled in the dirt, a relic of a misguided attempt to resurrect monarchy. Local peasants watch Orchard watchers treat captives with stoic fairness. No savage reprisals. Some southwestern folk realize Orchard watchers have indeed a measure of compassion not seen in old monarchical wars. Over the next weeks, Orchard watchers systematically restore order, capturing any holdfast that refused Orchard rule in the uprising. Many southwestern lords see the futility of further defiance. The Orchard vow organizes trials under Confederation law, shipping captured conspirators to King's Landing for a hearing. Aerion stands at the center of these proceedings. In King's Landing, older Orchard watchers recall Joffrey's trial a century ago. They plan a similarly public process. The Orchard vow does not thirst for spectacle. The trial aims to show that monarchy claims remain illegal. A new generation of watchers handle the arrangements. People from across the realm gather, curious to see how Orchard justice deals with a Targaryen pretender. Aerion appears in chains, ironically reminiscent of how Joffrey once stood in that very city, undone by Orchard discipline. The dais is set in the old throne room, though the Iron Throne stands draped in Orchard banners. The watchers proceed with a methodical presentation of evidence. Aerion landed with armed men, declared himself king, waged open war. Witnesses from southwestern towns confirm his calls to restore monarchy. The Orchard vow's code states that claiming absolute rule is treason. He is allowed to speak in his defense. Aerion rails about Targaryen birthrights, proclaiming Orchard watchers robbed the realm of its rightful heritage. The Orchard watchers respond that a century of confederation has proven monarchy unnecessary, that the Orchard vow overcame Joffrey's cruelty and upheld peace. The southwestern lords who joined Aerion are also tried. Some say they were misled or coerced, but Orchard watchers find enough proof of willing collaboration. In the end, the Orchard Vows Council convicts Aerion of inciting war and attempting to re-establish monarchy. By Orchard law, the penalty for such an act is severe. Yet Orchard watchers recall how Joffrey was exiled rather than executed. Some watchers debate repeating that approach, sending Aerion somewhere far beyond Westeros. But the times are different. Joffrey had grown up in Westeros, while Aerion arrived from overseas to spark war. The Orchard Vows' new generation believes exiling him might lead to repeated invasions. They weigh the Vows' principle of mercy against the real threat he poses. After deliberation, the Orchard Watchers sentence Arryn to the same punishment monarchy claims have always faced: final exile or, if no place will accept him, indefinite confinement in orchard-run labor. The Watchers do not relish killing him, but they cannot risk another infiltration. They proclaim that if no foreign territory will claim him, he must remain in orchard custody at an outpost, forced to do manual labor under orchard watch. Arryn, outraged, curses them, but the Orchard Vow stands firm. The southwestern lords who joined him receive various penalties. Some are stripped of lands or forced to pay heavy reparations, others exiled or assigned orchard labor detail as well. The Watchers confine them in scattered fortress outposts, ensuring they cannot regroup. The realm sees orchard justice once more, rigorous but not driven by revenge. Observers realize monarchy is no longer a casual possibility in Westeros. Once again, Orchard Watchers overcame a would-be throne claimant, preserving confederation without letting cruelty slip in. In the wake of the trial, southwestern lands calm. Loyal Orchard Watchers remain vigilant, stationing more garrisons in the region to deter fresh conspiracies. The local folk, at first uncertain, see Orchard Watchers rebuild roads, help with farmland repairs, treat the wounded. Gradually, southwestern trust recovers, though Orchard Watchers keep an eye on any simmering resentments. The Orchard Vow, tested by Arryn's bold attempt, emerges stronger. People across the realm see how a Targaryen pretender collapsed. The Orchard Vow retains its moral authority, reaffirming that monarchy has no place here. Eager bards spin parallels to the Orchard Vow's founders, how they dethroned Joffrey with minimal bloodshed, and how Orchard Watchers repeated that victory now. Some bardic songs highlight the Vow's consistency, saying the realm is safe from crowns forever. Yet life moves on, and Orchard Watchers resume daily tasks. They do not dwell in triumph. Their code demands constant vigilance. King's Landing's Orchard Council issues statements clarifying that any further monarchy claim will face the same penalty. Tywin's Old Line in the Westerlands, by now mostly integrated with orchard trade, does not protest. The Stormlands remain content under orchard guidance. The North, accustomed to local autonomy, approves Orchard Watchers' handling of the southwestern threat. Dorne, ever aloof, quietly acknowledges Orchard Watchers are unstoppable. Over decades more, the Orchard Vows confederation feels unassailable. If two major attempts, Joffrey's tyranny and Arryn's invasion, could not restore monarchy, few dare try again. Time edges forward still. Another generation or two passes. The Orchard Vow thrives. Orchard caravans remain the arteries of commerce. Orchard Watchers the guardians of law. The southwestern fiasco becomes a cautionary footnote in Confederation annals. People forget the details. They only know Orchard Watchers remain undefeated. Some ask if Orchard Watchers might become a monarchy in all but name. Yet Orchard Watchers recall Margaery and Jon's principle. No single figure or house should overshadow local freedoms. The Watchers ensure a rotating leadership so no single commander can seize power. The Vows Code stands unbroken. Somewhere in the city of Old Town, a group of scholars compiles a massive chronicle of Orchard Vow history. They trace it from the earliest war with Joffrey to the southwestern incursion. They record how Orchard Watchers responded each time with reason, force only when needed, and condemnation of monarchy. The scholars note that the Orchard Vow's moral fiber might hinge on Watchers never growing corrupt or complacent. They muse that if Orchard Watchers ever lost their code, the realm might slip back to tyrants. In one passage, the chronicler writes, "So long as Orchard Watchers remain faithful to the Vow's discipline, no crown can rise and confederation endures." In quiet corners of Highgarden, elderly orchard men recite memory-laden tales of Margaery Tyrell and Jon Snow, their modest graves beneath 2 apple trees. Every spring, blossoms drift across those graves, reminiscent of how Orchard Watchers drifted across the realm to bring unity. The Orchard Vow has become a universal tradition, unifying farmland and city, forging mutual defense and trade. People speak of Margaery and Jon as if they were myth, not quite believing how two individuals reshaped a kingdom. Yet the Orchard Watchers hold documents that prove their existence: the vows' original charters, the recorded trial of Joffrey. These are safeguarded so no one can rewrite history to claim monarchy was never undone. The Orchard Vows archivists remain vigilant, for knowledge keeps tyranny at bay. Thus the Orchard Vows saga rolls on. The Southwestern Revolt tries monarchy, fails. The Watchers reassert law. The realm breathes. One might say a quiet golden age persists, with farmland bustling, roads safe, no single crown overshadowing everything. People whisper that the Orchard Vow has now faced every kind of threat: the monstrous boy king from within, Tywin's manipulations, external invasions, and Targaryen claimants. Each time, Orchard Watchers overcame them. Each time, Orchard Watchers refused to become tyrants themselves. The Vow's moral code is so ingrained that Watchers who violate it face immediate discipline. The Orchard Vow has become an institution as entrenched as any monarchy once was, only not built upon fear. Some wonder if centuries more might pass before monarchy rises again. Others suspect that so long as Orchard Watchers hold fast to discipline, no usurper can succeed. In taverns, minstrels spin new ballads of the Orchard Watchers' triumph over Aerion Targaryen. They depict orchard lines calmly repelling a flamboyant army, echoing the victory over Joffrey's cruelty. They mention how no Orchard Watchers took savage revenge, how prisoners were tried with fairness. The refrain, "Where orchard banners stand, no crown endures." Younger folks sometimes question, is it truly better than a single wise king? But the Orchard Vow's living example outshines such doubts. Freed from capricious rule, the Confederation fosters local governance that rarely slides into oppression, thanks to Orchard Watchers' presence. If a local lord abuses power, Orchard Watchers respond swiftly. War has been mostly averted for nearly 2 centuries of Orchard rule. Yet in quiet corners, a few remain unsatisfied, lamenting the Orchard Vow's slow bureaucracy or lamenting taxes for Orchard Watchers' upkeep. Some even claim monarchy might be simpler. But that minority seldom finds an audience, for Orchard Watchers have learned to address local gripes fairly. Each Orchard outpost includes mediators who handle complaints. The vow remains strong. Freed from the tragedies that beset old dynasties, the Orchard realm continues. King's Landing's old throne room stands basically as a civic hall for Orchard councils. The Iron Throne, covered in Orchard banners, stands dusty and neglected. No one tries to sit upon it. Indeed, Orchard Watchers ensure that any showy attempt is politely but firmly discouraged. The realm grows used to the idea that the throne is meaningless, a relic of times best left behind. One mild summer day, 150 years after Margaery and Jon's passing, Orchard Watchers hold a great meeting in King's Landing, inviting representatives from each region. They gather in the same old throne room, though it now has been extensively renovated to seat many delegates. Discussion revolves around standardizing Orchard trade routes, adjusting tariffs, verifying Watchers' code in remote corners. None speak of monarchy. The Southwestern fiasco is decades past. The realm's biggest concerns revolve around expanding farmland, shipping to Essos, or ensuring Orchard Watchers keep discipline. Elders from the southwestern region recount how they overcame the Targaryen incursion. Younger Watchers take notes, determined not to repeat any complacency. The Orchard Vow remains dynamic, shaped by each generation's experiences. At day's end, these Watchers step outside, crossing King's Landing squares. Children run up, chasing a little dog. Merchants hawk orchard fruit. Guards from local councils and Orchard Watchers rub shoulders in friendly routine. That night, a festival spontaneously erupts in a side street to celebrate a bountiful harvest. The Watchers mingle, sampling sweet cider pressed from orchard apples. Over the strings of a lute, a minstrel sings an old ballad. How a rose of Highgarden and a wolf of the north dethroned Joffrey, forging orchard unity. Some Watchers mouth the words, nostalgic even though they never lived that time. The Orchard Vow's origin remains their guiding star. Another century turns. The Orchard Vow stands. No major war, no crowned head. Roads safe, farmland thriving, local councils deciding laws, orchard watchers ensuring fairness. By then, even the southwestern fiasco is a distant memory, studied by orchard historians. The orchard vows core principle has prevented monarchy for some 250 years. This is longer than many dynasties lasted in the old era. People take orchard watchers for granted, like the sun rising. The vow is so ingrained that no large group can conceive of a reversion to single king rule. Whenever a small band tries, orchard watchers quell it calmly. In one sense, life is repetitive. Generations farm, trade, govern, with orchard watchers quietly upholding the vow. Yet a stable realm fosters growth, invention, cultural exchange. Over centuries, King's Landing's port becomes a bustling center of confederation shipping. Merchants from faraway lands appreciate orchard watchers guaranteeing safe passage. The city thrives beyond what monarchy allowed, with orchard watchers never imposing harsh edicts. Freed from feudal extremes, more small folk own farmland or run businesses. The orchard vow fosters an upward trend in literacy, as orchard-run schools open in major towns, teaching basic reading and confederation laws. People learn from a young age that monarchy was an outdated concept. The orchard vow is their heritage, revered like an old, sturdy tree shading them from the scorching sun of tyranny. Inevitably, time merges legend and truth. The orchard vow's founding grows clothed in mythic embellishment. Some say Margaery and Jon carried magical orchard seeds that sprouted armies of watchers overnight. Others spin romance about how the two soared on winged direwolves. The orchard watchers themselves keep official records that correct such fantasies, but they do not mind the realm's imagination. The vow's essence remains the same. No single crown, no cruelty, a disciplined force ready to defend unity. So long as that essence stands, what harm if bards add frills? By the 400th year since Joffrey's fall, the orchard vow has become an institution older than many past dynasties. People ask if monarchy is gone forever. Hard to say. Mortals always twist new ways to seize power. But orchard watchers are thoroughly entrenched, from the capital to the remotest hamlet. Each region maintains local councils. Orchard watchers stand guard. Caravans flow. The orchard vow's discipline might be undone only if watchers themselves turned corrupt. Yet generation after generation has hammered a zero-tolerance approach to corruption, punishing watchers who break the code. The vow's moral structure endures like bedrock beneath farmland. Harvest after harvest, orchard produce feeds a prosperous population that never once glimpses a tyrant enthroned in the capital. Eventually, even the orchard watchers' official records show the vow's origin as a tapestry of events so ancient that few can name all the players. The name Margaery Tyrell becomes revered as the orchard rose who financed and guided the vow. Jon Snow, the wolf from the north, is remembered as her partner in forging the code and dethroning Joffrey. People sometimes conflate them with mythical heroes, attributing miracles to them. Historians gently correct these exaggerations. But the orchard vow's power is real. No monarchy survived their combined resolve. The orchard watchers operate in near-perpetual peacetime, overshadowing fleeting attempts by adventurers or conspirators. Some foreign lands see monarchy as normal, but the orchard vow stands as proof that a confederation can thrive for centuries. So the orchard vow's story stretches onward, weaving through centuries, the realm's everyday reality. Farms thrive, roads remain safe, local councils flourish, watchers quell trouble. The vow's founders lie in that orchard near Highgarden, their graves now centuries old, overshadowed by two entwined apple trees so large that travelers might rest in their shade. Some say in spring, the blossoms drift like pale snow across the marker, a sign that love and unity conquered cruelty. Pilgrims place wreaths of orchard flowers in silent thanks. The orchard watchers occasionally send a ceremonial patrol to that orchard, reminding themselves of the vow's root in humility and hope. And though the orchard vow no longer needs Margaery and Jon's presence, their spirit lingers in each orchard watcher's oath, in each city free from a single king's lash. Now and then, a new threat arises, a cunning lord who quietly collects arms or an exiled band of sellswords landing on remote shores. But orchard watchers remain ready, repeating the vow's old lines, No crown can rise, no tyrant shall stand. Together we guard, together we guide. Those words, etched in orchard watch halls, echo across the realm. They remind watchers that monarchy is a weed that can spring up if left unmonitored. Pruning it swiftly keeps the orchard healthy. Generations pass in quiet contentment, each child absorbing orchard vow lessons from the time they can walk. People grow proud of a system free from the burdens of a single lord's whims. The idea of monarchy is relegated to dusty old stories. Yet the orchard vow stands vigilant, refusing complacency. No matter how many centuries slip by, orchard watchers know that ambition and cruelty do not die easily. They must be stifled each time they threaten to bloom. In that endless cycle, orchard watchers find purpose. Freed from grand illusions of war glory, they measure victory in safe roads, fed children, thriving trade, and the continuing irrelevance of that twisted iron throne in the capital. The orchard vow ensures it remains empty, draped in a green and gray banner. And so the orchard vow's story continues, an unbroken line of moral guardians who replaced the swords of monarchy with the discipline of watchers. The orchard itself, both literal farmland and metaphorical confederation, bears fruit each year, nourished by the vow's spirit. Over time, archmasters in Old Town have compiled the full saga, from Margaery and Jon's earliest days to the southwestern fiasco to present stability. If one flips through those thick tomes, they see the vow's unwavering principle that cruelty has no place under orchard watchers' eyes. They see how no single crisis overcame the vow. They see a tapestry of local freedoms balanced by orchard discipline. They see a realm of many regions, each shaping its destiny, none cowed by a single figure in a tall chair. Somewhere, a traveling bard might wander from Dorne to the Vale, singing a gentle ballad of orchard blossoms and direwolf footprints in the snow, how these parted the gloom of monarchy. In the ballad, Margaery is the rose that opened the realm's heart, Jon the wolf who guarded it. They dethroned a monstrous child, cast aside that old throne, sowed orchard seeds in the hearts of watchers. The final verse proclaims that so long as orchard watchers remain true, no crown shall overshadow their orchard confederation. The realm's small folk hum that ballad, half believing it is just a sweet fable. But orchard watchers know it as history, living proof that love and principle can reshape an entire land. Thus, from end to end, from the frosty north to the scorching deserts of Dorne, the orchard vow remains Westeros's quiet backbone. Lords may come and go, petty feuds may spark or gutter, but orchard watchers endure, an institution mightier than any single sword. Over countless generations, people forget the fear that monarchy once imposed. Instead, they grow used to orchard watchers stepping in whenever a lord grows too bold or a band of invaders tries to claim a throne. Time sometimes obscures the vow's origins, but it cannot erase them. For each orchard watcher holds a short oath in memory. We were born of war's cruelty undone. We sow no tyranny. We guard confederation's peace. We prune all evil. We stand unbowed. And in living that oath, the orchard vow thrives. No doubt, centuries hence, new challenges will arise. Foreign powers, internal schisms, maybe an era of plague or climate shift. But orchard watchers keep watch, uniting farmland and city in unwavering discipline. The orchard vow, shaped by Margaery Tyrell and Jon Snow, has become the realm's permanent bulwark against absolute rule. Generations after their passing, the orchard vow remains the lodestone that no pretender can dislodge. No matter how often the orchard watchers must draw swords to repel monarchy's ghost, the orchard vow's code ensures victory without plunging the land into cruelty. In that sense, Margaery and Jon's vow has achieved a dream once thought impossible. An enduring peace not anchored by a single monarchy, but by collective guardianship. At last, in some quiet orchard corner near the Rose Road, a gray-haired orchard steward might pass by a pair of ancient apple trees and spot two simple grave markers. The caretaker sweeps fallen petals aside, revealing the entwined rose and wolf symbol. That caretaker, half-literate but loyal, kneels a moment in respect, remembering the stories told by grandparents. How two hearts forged an age without kings. Then the caretaker rises, continuing the orchard's daily tasks. For that is how the vow lives on. In each small, unglamorous act of vigilance and care, in each crate of produce loaded onto a wagon bound for a free city, in each orchard watcher who stands guard by a quiet village road, that caretaker might breathe a silent vow. Never let monarchy resurface. Never let cruelty gain a foothold. Margaery and Jon rest in the orchard soil, but their promise transcends mortality. The orchard vow, a tapestry of discipline, empathy, and local governance, remains unstoppable. Thus, the orchard vow's story endures in the realm's every breath, crossing centuries of calm with occasional tests that orchard watchers pass each time. No single king arises to overshadow them. The confederation stands, roads busy with peaceful trade. The Iron Throne, scorned and dust-ridden, remains a relic locked behind orchard banners in the capital, visited only by the curious who marvel at an artifact of a savage era. Tour guides might remark that a small plaque proclaims, "Here once sat a boy king undone by orchard vow. Let no mortal claim this seat again." People nod, find it quaint, and move on. The orchard vow's presence in daily life is more tangible than any throne of swords. So it continues forever, or as near to forever as mortal societies manage. Historians speculate that if orchard watchers ever grow complacent or corrupt, monarchy might creep in again. But the watchers train each new generation in the vow's discipline, forging loyalty untainted by vanity. Freed from illusions of personal power, watchers view themselves as caretakers. Freed from fear, the realm's folk rarely pine for a single monarch. Freed from cruelty, farmland yields fruit, towns bustle, children run unafraid. The orchard vow's final harvest is not a single day or year, but an unbroken chain of seasons in which no tyrant reigns. Long after Margaery and Jon have become legends, the orchard vow's orchard blossoms each spring, white petals drifting gently on a breeze that whispers, "No crown endures." In that hush, across farmland and city, watchers still recite the orchard vow's earliest lines, a refrain borrowed from the founder's beliefs. "We sow, we guide, we stand, so no throne overshadows. Where orchard blossoms bloom, cruelty dies." And in each recitation, the vow reawakens, ensuring that no matter how many centuries or how many restless souls yearn for old power, orchard watchers remain unwavering sentinels, carrying forward the dream that began with a rose from Highgarden and a wolf of Winterfell. In final testament, the orchard stands as living truth, that love and principle can remake a realm, forging a confederation that outlasts even the strongest iron crowns. For so long as orchard watchers hold fast to that vow, monarchy remains no more than an idle specter, drifting away in the gentle wind of orchard blossoms.